Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. First semi-final done and dusted. Ready for our second semi-final. Very, very excited.
Very ready, Ben. Very ready.
Benson Chance,
Absolutely.
ready to call the action. And we're joined by Lottie,
Hey.
whose analytical minds and stats Chance has been making you feel a little upset because she's been bringing out some good ones, that's for sure. So I'm excited to hear, Lottie, what you have to say for this next semi-final and just in general. Excited for the gameplay because so far we've kicked off with a pretty good series.
We have.
Last map, little interesting, that's probably all I'll say there. But in terms of predictions, Lottie, how do you see this second semi-final going?
Well, you know, I think this is going to be quite tough for a number of reasons. I think it's going to be very tough on New York Subliners right now because I just feel like they're not playing up to the same kind of level as we're seeing with Chicago Huntsmen right now. And I actually have a couple stats for you, especially for you, Chance, just because I know you love them. So I was just looking at the debuts of some of our players that we've had and what their kind of KDs and stats are. So looking at looking at all of these put together, Prestini obviously sitting there with a 0.9. We've got Zero at 1.18, Mac at a 0.95, and Chino at a 0.79. That's based on all of their debuts, wherever those were in the home series previous weeks. So Mac at 0.95 and Prestini at 0.9. Pretty close call there for our two subs coming in with a debut. It's just whether or not Mac is now even equally more involved with his team. Is he more cohesive? I think he is. So it's gonna prove a little bit interesting for Chicago Huntsmen coming through. But I do think that they're sat at a really nice position right now, Prestini, and it's whether or not they're gonna bring that team chemistry we've seen from them all weekend into this final match down.
I'm excited. Some little nice insight there, but we'll take a look at our game fuel keys to victory now for both of our two teams heading into semi-final number 2. I believe we'll start with the Huntsmen. And I know Nameless has been doing a good job all weekend of just getting those keys to victory ready and waiting for them to actually pop up. Because I don't even know what he picked. We'll find out. Formal started to play with more discipline has helped Chicago in close games. Fair enough. 1.28 overall KD. You can't be overly aggressive playing against a composed NY team as we'll move over towards New York's game fuel key to victory. But for the most part, Chance, there, I agree with Nameless.
And I would also try to take it like a step further and say that like the best that New York like has looked with Mac Melts as the addition has been in the hard points. But the last time we saw these two teams play was at Chicago with Mac Melts, and Chicago was teeing off them in the hard points, beat him 3 times, only dropped 1 hard point map, and 2 of those hard points were blowouts as well. And that means if Chicago is able to consistently win those hard points, their S&D has been fantastic, their domination has also been fantastic. So that to me is their key. If they win at least 1 of the 2 hard points, in my mind they're going to be fantastic for the series.
And when you talk New York Subliners and their game fuel keys to victory, everyone has been contributing. All are statistically positive, a 1.017 KD this home series, and they need to be on point versus Chicago. Absolutely they do, because when you talk big picture, for Huntsmen, they're looking at maybe trying to take number 1 in the rankings overall, Lottie, which obviously as a community, that conversation is just going back and forth. Who's the best team in the game?
It really is. And it's very difficult right now because we're seeing so many changes coming through for a lot of our teams here. And it just poses that question, can you even put a finger on that right now until you've seen this team at full potential? Yes, Huntsmen have been performing right this second. However, previously we haven't seen that from them. Can they continue to do that? Can they continue this stride on and forwards? And New York Subliners, we all know they've mentioned before they're a momentum-based team. This is the momentum they need. Show me what you can do.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Lottie, for joining us pre-game. Always a pleasure, and always great hearing your numbers. But Chance, I want to talk more about numbers, but more so series specific. When we look at the layout of this series as a whole, does it favor either team?
Well, okay, so these two teams matched up. They played each other twice back in Chicago. Obviously, the roster, at least for Chicago, a little bit different from there, but they've actually run like the gauntlet of maps. I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but they're basically just going through every single map that they possibly can. Like, the only hard point these two teams haven't played against each other on is Ramaza, and that's obviously where we kick it off from. So, yes, Chicago's had the advantage in the game mode overall, but clearly the pick and bans may be coming to effect just a little bit for New York, trying their hand at a different map.
Hey, man, just keep playing them all, right? Cycle through.
You'll eventually find the one that sticks.
Yes, maybe. It's so far good start for New York Subliners. Of course, you're on that far left-hand side of your minimap where you're going to want to see both teams try and control for P2. As it stands, it's going to be Huntsmen with that advantage. Of course, they will want to try and contest this. You don't want to give away all the time to New York, who still have attach inside the hill. Teammates join him, allows him now to try and push through. And if New York can win a couple of gunfights here, Chance, they could be off to a very, very hot start.
Well, Formal is going to be that first guy to start shutting some players down. You see in the feed, he was able to pick up too. So yes, for New York, it would have been fantastic if they were able to get some of those gunfights, but you can see all the pressure in the world right now for the Chicago Huntsmen back towards that new hill. But unfortunately for them, you can see one of the best P1s you'll really ever see on Ramaza. Subliners did a phenomenal job off the rip.
That's a great start. It really is. 50-2 will be the score after the first hill. As you can see, actually, he's going to have to try and fight from the destruction side. Plenty of Huntsman players to his right, as that's where Pristini is actually spawning in. Meanwhile, of course, you still have two players for the Huntsman inside the hill. Envoy and Scump. Nice shots, though, from accuracy. Really good shots from accuracy. That's actually going to be two in quick succession. Formal and Pristini both drop, and now all of a sudden he can fight down the stairs for number 3. Arskis drops as well. As now Temp is going to try and influence the hill. Not going to have any success there whatsoever. 30 seconds remain.
And this is actually a pretty big 30 seconds as well. You can actually see exactly how far away the Subliners are going to be. And 4 players have already said, hey, let's just rotate over towards new. They sent 1 man, and that was Zuma potentially to break that new hill. But that is a very, very early rotation that the Subliners unfortunately have to make. And that just means the Huntsmen now have all the time in the world to take their sweet old time to try to pick up a couple kills when they rotate. That's why you got 2 players doubled up inside of tunnels, doing a fairly nice job of staying live. But realistically, now it's this Arsides, the lone man pushed up in tunnel, waiting to see if he can get some teammate support.
Current score, 55-59. New York will take the lead here, though, as they still have Mac inside the hill, ready and waiting for the Huntsman push to come through. There's going to be one. Should be able to find a second, but that's an unfortunate reload. Doesn't even matter. These will fall as well. Actually looking to maybe trade. The Semtex will stick, and unfortunately for him, that splash damage essentially is what is going to shut him down. That's going to leave New York now scrambling to try and get into the hill. Want to point out a slow start from Zuma. 0-7. We've been really singing a lot of his praises throughout this season. Maybe he's returning to advanced warfare form, if you will, but not the greatest start from him. And despite that, New York still relatively close, just down by 10.
Yeah, a bit topsy-turvy, honestly, on the stat line for the side of New York Subliners, where it's accuracy that is the main slayer, and doesn't have the most time in the hill. Obviously, that's because of the Subliners have had 1 hill with a great deal of success, and that was off the rip, and not really accuracy's job to be soaking up the time over there. But either way, 2 back-to-back hills being chained up very well by the Huntsmen, and all the credit in the world, honestly, to Arsides. He had the play at the start where he made sure to wait for his teammates, didn't overcommit to anything, and then as soon as the teammates were there, the perfect push and the perfect break for the Huntsmen to make sure that, well, they grab the hill and take the lead.
Now having a quick glance over towards Zuma's perspective, he's managed to string together a couple of kills. Still double negative, sitting at 4 and 8 as Huntsmen look to try and push over through bridge, try and break in towards the new hill, as New York once again looking to try and take the lead. It may be short-lived though, as Scump maybe just try and contest quickly. Unfortunately for him, Attach just sniffed that push out. Scump has to back away, waiting for team support. As I say that though, he decides to maybe just fly straight through. 1 kill comes through, which was Attach. It gave him license to push in. Unfortunately for him, that license short-lived.
Yeah, you can see the Huntsmen are actually taking quite a bit of care to make sure that every single push they have is going to be together as a team rather than to just fly hyper-aggressive and potentially throw away your life. So you get the team playmaking ability rather than just someone having to go big. And, well, for the Huntsmen, you got basically the full team set up over towards this tunnel. Arsides is taking care of Temp from the old hill, but now all the pressure for them Subliners coming in from the back, and you got the 4 5-on-5 in and around the hill.
Zuma just trying to, again, have to wait for his teammates to come and assist. Trying to buy a little bit of time, unfortunately, unsuccessfully so there. Skunk will shut him down. It's Huntsman trying to contest the hill. Arsides from outside will find 1. Temp instantly with the trade, and they'll again contest back and forth. Actually, it's been a very, very close start to game 1 here.
And both teams playing very well fundamentally as well. You have to give credit. I think maybe the Subliners had 1 hold on a hill that they would have liked to have done a much better job on. But outside of that, so far so good. Really both sides of the board. Zuma, yes, he had a slow start, but it was what, 1 and 9 or something off the rip. So since then, even if not doing a little bit better, but obviously still needs to bump up production just a little bit more. But obviously the Huntsmen able to grab the final few seconds, and Ben, we're going to have ourselves a tied game, it looks like, going into the new hill.
Yeah, 121-19, just to tease you. But New Hill pops, and already the contest is there. Pressini on your screens. Of course, the newest addition to the Chicago Huntsmen. Playing once again with his brother Arsides now on your screens. As Huntsmen will retake the lead here. Arsides with actually a bit of a big job to do here. Mac and Zuma both going to be trying to push. Meanwhile, his teammates actually fall inside the hill, and Arsides going to have to try and stay alive, more importantly here. If you can find a couple kills, that's going to be great. He's found one. It's Zoomer. Unfortunately for him, Mac will get the better of him this time. In actual fact, that was a direct trade. RC did find that kill. Unfortunately, though, New York still spawning that side. Keep your eye on the minimap, though. Number 8 for Huntsman. That's going to be Boy right at the back, anchoring those spawns for P2.
And he did a fantastic job as well. You see RCDs actually does manage to get that close spawn, and this is the exact same setup the Huntsman went with the last time around. Zoomer knows exactly where to look. He's been here before, and he makes sure to get the pick, and it looks like now the Subliners have just enough pressure towards the bottom side that, well, maybe the Huntsman will spawn out, but actually the players that were on the steps get dealt with, so never mind. The spawn will stay consistent. Now it's the Subliners that are going to have to take a hike all the way across the map.
If you can just get a little bit of increased productivity out of Zoomer here for New York Subliners, then honestly, they might be able to start pulling away a little bit. He still sits double negative at this point in the game. You're on number 5 on the mini-map. Watch Zoomer maybe a little bit more closely, if you will. Unfortunately, he falls instantly there as Huntsman again inside the hill. 30 seconds remain. Zoomer trying to break from the front. It's probably going to be unsuccessful. He has to again wait for some team support. It seems to be the theme, really, of game 1. These individual pushes just not working, and there it is. 4 go down. Huntsman in control.
And I'm having deja vu. That was another 30-second rotation coming from this hill where Zoomer's effectively by himself saying, hey guys, like, I could try to kill him, but there's gonna be all 5 of them. Now the Subliners have to rotate again, but if you remember correctly, last time the Huntsmen, it was from the tunnel side of things. They had 4 men all working together, and they made sure to get the break, and it took them maybe 15 or 20 seconds to set up. And, well, now the Subliners, that is where their biggest mistake was, the first set of rotations. This is their opportunity to, well, just shut them down. All the pressure again through tunnel. That's where Zoomer's gonna be. He's able to find a big 2 and even stay alive for just a little bit longer, buying his teammates time.
Yeah, Mac's probably going to try and hit the flank there, if you will. Meanwhile, Temp still inside the hill. The pressure's going to come very, very quickly, and he needs his teammates to support. Attach, unfortunately, not going to be able to recontest the hill. And because of that, Huntsmen do break in with 28 seconds remaining here. They're going to have what might be the biggest lead of the game if they're able to hold it for that full time. Unfortunately, Zoomer that time decides I have to push in. There's no point in waiting. Don't want to give away too much time. He will fall. Meanwhile, Attach jumps in. He finds the first. It's Formal that drops. Still 2 more players from Huntsman there. Nice bait and switch. And in actual fact, Attach is just killing everyone. There's 2. Scump and Formal both drop, but there's a foot race on the rotation. 4 and 0. The 2 numbers to keep your eye on. That's going to be Accuracy and Prestini. That fight's still going to be going on. Of course, that's on the other side of the map. Actually looks like he's going to get there first, but Huntsman, they have the numbers.
Well, Huntsman also have the rotation. Pristini did the best job possible, making sure to get the spawns for his teammate, and Attach, who went absurdly crazy on that last hill. All for what? You're still down by 50. You're not winning the rotation. You're going to have to go crazy again. Maybe it's Zoomer's turn, but he gets cut down from the player on the steps. And, well, the duo of Attach, though, is there for the follow-up. The question is, can you stave off the push from the Huntsman? It looks like, actually, success is there. You see the spawn coming in from the Huntsman now, pretty far away from this hill, and at least 2 players chalk it up and they say, hey, we'll see you on the other side of the map. We're going to make sure we get this rotation. We will throw away, well, not throw away, but hand over those final 20-25 seconds. But either way, still a nice little lead for the Huntsmen. The question is, if they get the hold on the new hill, they get the win. For the Subliners, obviously, they're going to need the break.
It's just Operation Don't Get Broke quickly, right? If you're Huntsman, you have that extra 15 seconds to set up correctly, set up exactly where you want, force New York to come to you. And with that, the kills and transition starting to come through. Prestini Hill finds one. It's Attach that drops, pre-firing, no one home up top. Meanwhile, Scump, of course, he's in a pretty important spot here, just to kind of watch that bottom side, and he'll find himself a kill in the kill feed more than likely. Meanwhile, his teammates still inside the hill, still slaying. And with those kills, Huntsman looking fantastic to close it out here. Boy, watching the front, that's your teammate. Doesn't matter too much. 250, 209. Huntsman take game 1.
And a big game 1 for them to get as well, Ben. Again, I think the generic storyline for the Huntsmen is, hey, FaZe aren't here, Empire aren't here, and if they don't win this tournament, it is impossible to make the case that right now the Huntsmen are the best team in the game. So it's a tournament that they need to get that #1 spot, if not for the CDL points, just for that confidence boost, for the bragging right, whatever it's going to be. And the same storyline against the New York Subliners. Yes, New York has been fantastic in hardpoint with the addition Mac Melts, but Chicago just have their number. They are now 4-1 in the head-to-head, at least since New York has made the roster switch.
In terms of stats from game 1, it's Temp 28 and 25. Unfortunately for him, that of course not enough. Zoomer still with a pretty slow performance all through game #1. 15 and 25 he will finish. On the side of Huntsman, Really just an even performance in terms of hill time. 3 players there with almost a minute and a half hill time, if not more, in terms of kills. 25, 23, 22, 25. RC's just lacking behind a little bit with 18.
And it is kind of easy to look at Zuma's stats and just say, like, all right, he costed a little bit, but I don't necessarily think that's the case, right? Like, we had a couple big moments. We saw from the rotation over to the third hill all the way across the map. It was back-to-back, and New York had to rotate with 30 seconds left on the old hill, and it was twice in a row. They get the full setup. They get the positioning that they want, and then the Huntsmen just break through and force their way through tunnel. And both times, they did so fairly quickly as well. Like, it wasn't too difficult for them, not a cakewalk, but they were able to get through. So that's 2 hills that you were able to set up, potentially get that full 60 on. You get broken immediately. And then even the second set of rotations from that hill, we saw Pristini over towards construction was able to get his team the back spawns, and the Subliners just let him slip through the cracks. However it happened, communication, he found the right timing through a smoke, whatever it was. He just made the big play. So really both the twins, I would say that game, making big plays for the squad. Even if they weren't getting an absurd number of kills, they did just enough in just the right spots to, well, put them over the edge.
Completely agree. 250-209, the final score from game 1. We'll take a look now at the quick scope presented by the US Air Force. Again, just a total comparison between these two teams. It may surprise you. Hardpoint KD advantage New York Subliners. SSD KD, big advantage there to the Huntsmen. Dom KD also in favor of the Huntsmen. And that's what makes this series so interesting for me, if you will, Chance. That Hardpoint KD difference, I'm sure, may catch a lot of people out by surprise. But New York, they played a good game. Unfortunately, though, just could not close it out. So we'll take a look now at our maps and modes. And this, of course, was what I was asking you earlier on. How does this series look overall for you, Chance?
I mean, this is why I tried to make the point of, like, I think it's important for Chicago just to get one of their 2 hardpoint wins, which obviously job already done in that regard, because the search and destroy, I would say Chicago have a fairly clear-cut advantage, right? You go to Gunrunner, New York, 0-3 on the map, Chicago 4-2. Should we see a map number 5 on our cloth? Chicago's been phenomenal on that map, right. 4-1. You got New York that's 2-4 on it. So the last time that these guys played, or at least the 2 times before that, when New York did get the 3-2 win, they had to win both of the search and destroys, and they had to get one of those 2 hardpoint wins. Now you're in a situation where you're forced essentially to get one of those 2, if not both the search and destroy wins, but those are 2 fantastic maps that Chicago has, and frankly, might just have the edge outright.
Well, most definitely. And at the beginning, I was going to consider that maybe this could be pretty deep into a series, maybe a game 5, but in reality, there's something about this Huntsman team that I know I mentioned to Lottie before, Chance, but I'm curious to kind of hear your thoughts on it. They're trying to prove that they're the best team, right? Yes. In the league, best team in the game. And they're going to have to start winning more and more events. And this is one of those where I think it was Scump on Twitter or one of his teammates tweeted out saying, I'm turning off the lights today. All right, I'm trying to make it feel like an event. So Scump, his cam, pretty dark. I mean, there's a prime example of it. He's ready to play. Okay, and for me, I think this is a very determined Huntsman. We talk a lot about new players coming in and what effect that has on the team. I think for RCD's just having his brother back with him is going to be such a big boost, just a mental boost, maybe not even necessarily a gameplay boost, but he's going to feel better just with his own performance. I'm sure Prestini will be the same. So for me, Huntsman winning this event is going to give them so much momentum and just good vibes, if you will.
Exactly, and make no mistake, they don't need the win, I don't think, at all, right? They're great in the standings in terms of the CDL points. They don't really have any fear of really falling too far down, even if they were to fall short, but they've already gotten 20 points on board here. If they were to win and get to 50, obviously that would be massive, but I could very well see a situation where, let's say hypothetically they fell, which they might not because they look fantastic at the moment, but even still, you're coming off of a roster change with only a week or 2 of practice, and you're expecting to get much better over time, so it's not an necessity for them to get the win, but oh boy, do they want it.
Most definitely do. Of course, the Royal Ravens, they want to win as well, so whatever our final will be today, it'll be an exciting one. It's New York or Huntsman that will join the London Royal Ravens. We shall wait and see. Either way, it's advantage Huntsman in the series. Game 1 hardpoint victory. I'll take a look over now at Accuracy's POV. We saw New York play this map in game mode yesterday. Chance Accuracy was left in a fair few clutch situations. Varying degrees of success, but overall a good performance from him on this map yesterday. Going to try and replicate it here. Answer this round at least is no. Formal will find the pick. Unfortunately for him, the flank comes through. Who would have thought? Zuma flanking.
Yeah, Formal completely pinched in. He did his job just by at least taking down one. Now the question is, can Envoy clutch? He has information the players aren't at B. The question is, how fast does he want to try to clear out this site and push through? Because obviously for Envoy, he's concerned about a couple things, right? He doesn't want to push too fast through crates and get caught on the rotation, but at the same time, got to get busy, got to get to work. That bomb is going to get planted, and you got Mac and Zuma going to be working together, both all the way towards the back of the map.
35 seconds remain. And Envoy find the 1 versus 2 clutch. Mac and Zuma up. Mac top AC. Looks like that's going to be a call out from his teammate, if nothing else, but Zuma, again, has the cross, and New York Subliners take round 1.
Eventually, just good positioning in the 2v1 towards the end. You got Zuma that, well, he didn't have the entire cross. He had at least the partial one, at least passed down towards the tracks. And as soon as Mac is like, hey, yo, he's right here, Zuma says, all right, cool, thank you very much. And a good first round to get on board for the Subliners, who, again, I think this is... You can't call it a must-win because obviously only 3 maps and reverse sweeps are possible, but in my mind, this is pretty much a must-win, right? Their domination has not been very clean. Obviously, the hard points, as good as New York has been, Chicago might even be a little bit better, so got to make sure you bounce back in the game, too, and try to replicate the only series win they had against Chicago back in the Chicago home series.
First blood this round. For Chicago, it's Prestini that picks that up. As we take a quick glance at Mac's perspective, not like he's going to find much action unless he forces it, and unfortunately for him, he gets bad timing. In fact, he gets terrible timing. Both him and Attach and Temp all drop. Envoy having his way so far here in game 2. A solid start as, I mean, New York just not able to hit those shots that round. Huntsmen take round 2.
That is a round of straight beams from, like, what, 4 of the 5 members of the Huntsmen there. Envoy was able to pick up 2, and you saw the strat coming out as well as soon as they get the bomb planted. You don't see too often where players are aggressive pushing through crates, but Envoy makes the perfect play, wins his first gunfight, has Prestini for the covering fire on the crate that was just above him for the second, and then, of course, you got 2 subs in and around crates. You already got the bomb down. Your job is done. Make sure you don't throw it away, and perfectly done on offense.
Now, New York back on attack them. And I believe it's going to be Mac with the bomb. First blood this round does come for New York. Temp and Zuma both find kills relatively quickly. There is a trade there, though. Formal launches the nade across. Temp drops. Still, though, the man advantage in favor of the New York Subliners, and more importantly for them, bomb going down.
I'm going to get planted. You do have Prestini. That's actually a very interesting spot. And you can already see, yeah, he picks up 1 kill in the feed, and now he just needs to stay alive or start killing everything. Unfortunately for him, though, his teammates are falling all around him. All of a sudden, Prestini, all the great work that he was doing on the flank, well, now New York knows exactly where he is, and they do have the bomb down and attached. Well, now he has the positioning on Prestini once again.
8 seconds in a dream for Prestini. 1 versus 2. Good read onto Zuma and launches out the smoke. Catch. He pushes. Prestini should find that pick. Now with 12 seconds, you just try and stick the defuse with the nade landed. Drawing how far Zuma is away. He's very close. The kill comes through. And New York take their second round. They got 2-1.
Yeah, Zuma is a pretty fast player. And honestly, that's just an unfortunate round for the Huntsmen, right? Prestini actually puts in a serious amount of work. He just needed 1 of his 2 teammates that were alive to win one of their gunfights. But you don't connect, you don't win the gunfights. It's going to make the round that much more difficult. A couple 1v2 attempts from the Huntsmen in the 2 rounds that they've lost, and no success thus far. Of course, at the same time, 3 offensive round wins in a row.
Will it be 4 in a row? As now Huntsmen back on the attack, eyeing up the B site. Zuma, who pulled out obviously from a slow game 1. Nice start to game 2, 5-1, leading the way for not just New York, but the lobby as well. Prestini also 5 kills, 2 deaths to his name though. Scump still looking for his first kill at 0-2 when they find it this round. Again, it is Huntsmen on the attack, and on the round looks like it was going to be a fast hit. Instead, it slows down quite drastically. Well, New York maybe push a little too far. They've got to be careful. Scump has a nice little spot there, and he should find the first blood. No, it's actually attached. Slides straight through. He'll find the pick and advantage New York.
Slide OP, but Prestini does not get traded, gets the kill and gets out of dodge. He is just completely gone and already back with Envoy, working together up through the crates, and they know exactly where accuracy is. Prestini gets the kill, and even with the team kill, the trade effectively still in as Envoy picks up Mac.
RC's not going to be too upset by that as long as Huntsmen win this round. They should be set to do so. There's the double kill right at the very end. Huntsmen tied up 2-2.
And Prestini's going off, by the way. I am incredibly curious. for all these players that have spent at least a little bit of time on the bench, obviously the only practice you can get in is what? You can either play 10s as much as possible, which most of these guys are trying to do, and then you can grind SMD. And I don't know whether or not Pristini's been grinding SMD in the little bit of off time that he's had, but his stats, at least this weekend in Search, have been fantastic. Yeah. This individual game, he is going off right now in Search. Been 4 rounds, he's got 8 kills, clearly leading the lobby. I'd just be very interested to know if he put a little bit of time into that game mode when he had the opportunity to.
3 kills last round, and as you said, he's having a great performance so far. And well, sneaky. There's Scump. That's one way of getting your first kill, that's for sure. Can he find number 2, though? And maybe solidify this round as well. Just attach and zoom up for New York Subliners. They both fall. Huntsmen take the lead, 3-2.
And again, just another round where Pristini's at least popping up in the feed. It looks like Formal gets the final kill, but pretty much suffocating. Anytime you go to A, you want to make sure you get out as fast as you possibly can, because as soon as that site control is in your favor on offense, you can make plays towards the site. We just saw basically every single member of the Huntsmen there prepared, ready to go on defense. And again, Scump with the first blood is obviously a massive part of that, of slowing down the push, but great reads coming out of the Huntsmen.
Yep, and of course, their first defensive round win. I'll go over now to the attacking side. Again, first blood comes through for the Huntsmen. They've had a fair amount of success so far in this game, picking up those first bloods. Pristini, bomb in hand, just getting his way straight towards B and not hesitating at all. Bomb going down.
I'm going down, and RCD is looking over his brother. Scump's got mid-map, and the Huntsmen have everything. They got the round win. They got everything they could possibly want, bar some insanity. Well, Pristini's going to shut that down as quick as he possibly can and get the final 2 kills. Then, normally the bomb planter plants the bomb and then dies. Pristini right now is doing his job and then getting all of the kills. I think we're, what, 6 rounds in? He's got 11 to his name, 12 kills?
It's like everyone is missing when they're shooting at Pristini. That's the only thing I can explain. He's hitting all of his shots. He's moving around the map. He's doing absolutely everything he can to give Huntsman a big search and destroy win, and of course potentially even a 2-0 lead in this series. This is one of the standout performances in search and destroy so far this weekend. If you can keep up that pace, unfortunately, no. Attach finds first blood on Pristini.
That's an important man to shut down, frankly. It seems like, hey, kill Pristini, win the round. Of course, you got to make sure you convert. Certainly not over yet, but obviously massive advantage the way New York. And of course, they got a man on the flank as well. Temp right now is the insurance policy, and there's the insurance cashing itself in. You get the kill on the flank, and now Scump is in between the entire lobby. He should fall very shortly. The Subliners, nice little bounce back round.
Yep, put themselves to them 1 of just tying things up. Still down 4-3. Here's a quick glance at exactly how Attach on that final kill. Number 1 by his standards. And as you so rightfully pointed out, Chance Scump with nowhere really he could run, surrounded by New York players. Next round about to get underway again, though. Would be Huntsman back on the attack. They head to. For some reason, I have a feeling they may just push A. I haven't seen it so far, but no, for them, it looks like it's just going to be a traditional slow play for a first pick.
I honestly kind of want to see them slow the pace down as well. Not necessarily for like a strategical reason, but it seems like this game has been absurdly fast. And I'd like to be able to take a bit of a breather. And luckily for us, the Huntsmen, they have abided. They're playing incredibly stagnant. You got a player, number 7, RCD is over watching crates. Right now, a player in green, Mac, might actually have one in front of him. Dead silence popped. Able to take down Envoy. An important first blood. Bomb is now down in green, right in the sideline of Mac.
Meanwhile, RCD's up top. Had a sniper rifle out last round. Opts not to use it this one. Then back over towards the assault rifle. Pristini just slipping and sliding away. He will survive. Still, though, advantage to New York. A man advantage, at least. One more. There's no, forget about that. We'll play some 4v4.
Looks like he's going to try to potentially take this quickly over to A. And RCD's actually getting a couple picks towards B. Okay. All this is going to do is going to drag the Subliners towards this B site. A is going to be wide open for free. Zuma might be able to make a play, but again, he thinks this bomb is going a completely different direction because RCD's kills the entire lobby, gets the final 4, all with the AR. Only needed 2 clips to make it happen. This man does not miss. The twins are feasting.
Oh, they're having fun. And it's kind of what I pointed out, right? Finally, they're playing again together. I just think mentally and just for morale, they're both going to be so happy about that. Just kind of being back together once again. Huntsmen, 1 round away from going 2-0 up in this series. And it feels right to start this round off with Prestini, 11-4. RCD's right behind him, 7-3. Envoy as well. Well, performance from him, 8-5. Don't underestimate the work he's put in.
Yeah, he's not related. I don't care.
Still, good performance though, that's for sure, as RCD's maybe forced to back down. New York looking to try and push over towards B. First blood for Scump. RCD's, again, just a nice headshot from him. That does find the trade. New York's still alive in the round.
I think I'm starting to understand why RCDs has all those kills. He's melting right now. He's killing incredibly fast.
It's quick.
Nice and quick, man. Subliners, that is not going to be fun for them to have to deal with if he's killing like that. And, well, frankly, not a fun round. They could have gotten the bomb down at B, but frankly, in the 2v3, they want to try to get a rotation, maybe find a pick before they make it happen. But the Huntsmen, you see them all, got a little triangle formation working their way around the map. They know that A is completely taken care of. They just need to make sure that retake's on point. Looks like you actually have Prestini getting all the information. They know what's going down.
Hey, Operation Wolfpack at this point. If you're the Huntsman, you have the numbers. You just gotta make sure you don't get pieced like that. Max slides out. There's a double. Scump left to try and clutch up. Scump, the 1v2. It looked like Mac had done just enough to win it for New York. Scump says, no, no, no. I'm the king around here. A hell of a way to close out game 2. Huntsman 2-0 up in the series.
Absolute just skates there, Ben. Put him on the rink. I think literally, I saw this morning, Scump tweeted out a 1v2 he had yesterday in search, and well, what does he do? Is the first given opportunity, clutches a 1v2 oh so fast, and obviously maybe credit a little bit to his teammates for getting Mac weak, but frankly, his teammates should have just killed him to begin with. Scump having to make the big play, but frankly, the 5 kills he got the 2 most important ones towards the end, and what's seeming to be a pretty quick series. So far, at least, going the way of Chicago.
All smiles on Scump's face there, as you would expect after a nice 1v2 to close things out. Bear in mind, it was a slow start from him, but a great way to finish things up. When you glad to get the stats, though, Prestini, he was really the big conversation for us throughout most of that game, and rightfully so. He'll finish 11-5. RCD's 8-4 right behind him. Envoy, again, got to give him some credit, 9-6. Overall, just a great performance there at a Huntsman.
And again, this was the storyline I was trying to key into right before we started, right? Of like how important the hard point is going to be for New York. Because yes, their S&D and their Dom, well, all across the board, they look better, especially so in the hard point. But it's not like they've made a case for being a top tier team, especially not in the other 2 game modes, right? You have the Search and Destroy where they're still a little bit below that 500 mark. And you have Chicago, who look pretty good on the map 2. Their map record for the Arklov, should we even see it, map 5 is also going to be fantastic. And that just means the Subliners have all the work in the world right now cut out for them.
This is going to be pretty, especially considering the overall record this season on Game 3 domination. Before we get those, though, we'll take a look at our Astro Gaming social soundboard. I believe earlier on I was referencing a tweet. Obviously, Scump playing in the dark, trying to get event ready, trying to emulate the lighting in his room, if you will, of an event. And it was Formal, actually, who tweeted it out. I'm about to turn off all the lights in my room and make it feel like an event today. Scump. Well, Scump, 1v2 to close out game 2. Yeah, I could see that happening many times at an event, that's for sure. Historically, at least, it's happened a fair amount. Scump, a great way to close out game number 2. And more importantly for them, Chance, Huntsman up 2-0.
And frankly, they just have to be feeling good. I'm sure the vibes right now are running high. They feel great. RCD's is happy to be with his brother, I have to imagine. And frankly, Prestini's got to feel good as well because he just had a fantastic map number 2. He's been great at Search and Destroy the entire time as well. So no bad things to possibly say about Chicago Huntsmen for the moment. It's seeming like they are well on their way to, well, just another grand finals for the boys.
Yeah, it's looking that way, Chance. I'm going to be honest. Huntsman in really the driver's seat this series, up 2-0. Game 1 was relatively close, let's not forget. Game 2, not so much, if I'm honest. A massive performance from Prestini and RCD's, of course. And don't forget about Envoy. But this series, we're about to get underway with Game 3. However, I do want to give some love over to our US Air Force 2v2 gunfight and exactly when they're gonna be. Of course, all of the dates right there. We got some of our winners there too. But next one is going to be May 27th, so that's going to be in 3 days. Look forward to seeing who takes that. For now, though, we're going to get a quick commercial break. When we return, Game 3.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Stay connected to what matters most with the best value in wireless.
This is dangerous. He's going to get caught, but they line up for Scump. And Scump, the king. Envoy is going off. 10 in a row. They're going to keep on charging straight into Acides. Formal hits the shot. Octane doesn't have to move. He goes. Oh, my lord!
Huntsmen lead the semi-final against New York Subliners 2-0. Is this where they close things out with a dominating 3-0 performance? Up next, of course, chance we're going to have some domination action, a game mode which we've talked about a lot, and every time we cast over New York Subliners, we have to bring it up. In the game mode, they haven't had a lot of success in.
And admittedly, they have had a ton of close games as of recent, including the against Chicago Huntsmen, right? The past 2 times they played.
Very close.
I think one of their losses was by 2 points on, I think, Hackney Yard. I think their other loss was by like 6 points. So they're very, very close in domination. But now it's the point of back against the wall. This is the type of points in the CDL where New York, like, they need them now. They need the extra points. They need to start working their way up in terms of the standing. So do or die, back against the wall. Got to start the reverse sweep. Got to start it with Dom.
Well, before we get into Game 3, we want to take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play
we do that too.
Game 2. I think we had to give it to Scump right at the end, right? What a way to close things out. A 1v2 clutch to seal the game. It really was brilliant. And bear in mind, it started with a 3v2 advantage Huntsman before Max just two-pieced Huntsman out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did get pretty nerve-wracking, but frankly, Scump is just too much of a tactical mastermind to let something like that get away, right? Like, he was pinned down, one shot right behind the wall, so what's the tactical play? Slide cancel, beam him off the head glitch, then you know exactly where Mac's going to be, and Mac wasting no time too. Goes for the instant challenge, but it looked like he was still weak, because if he wasn't, well, Scump just killed him in a bullet. It was very, very quick, but either way, nice plays from Scump to seal the deal, and it's just one of those things that adds to the pressure for the Subliners now have to deal with a hyped, confident, feeling good, vibes flowing type of Huntsman team. They got to win 3 maps in a row.
Yes, reverse sweep. This is not going to be easy for New York, and it all starts here. It's Hackney Dom, game mode again. They've not had a lot of success, but to your point, and I think it is important to stress, the games have been close.
Yes.
Not all of them, but a lot of them have been nail-bitingly close. It's just that maybe clutch factor, clutch gene towards the end, which has been haunting New York Subliners. To start out, kick things off on board with New York is that was short-lived. Scump instantly challenges Zuma. He'll find the pick. The fight for B commences.
And it's domination, so I'll just take the time a little bit to kind of explain the CDL point situation as well. Subliners come into this tournament with like the 11th seed, but the difference between the team in 6th and the team in 11th was all but like 20 points. So it could very realistically be a situation like if New York wins this tournament, they will go from 11th to about 6th or 7th place, depending on how the points work out with like the Ravens, because I know they had a bit of a bump, but that's a big thing for like the Ravens, right? They were also somewhere in the middle of the pack. Now they've gotten at least 30 points, might be able to get a little bit more to bump themselves up. And this is the type of tournament where you can really set yourself apart from the pack. But obviously, if New York falls here, they will not be able to do so.
I mean, there's a very big chance that maybe a team pulls themselves out of the bottom of the leaderboard, or maybe just Huntsman try to solidify themselves back as number 1. Speaking of Huntsman, 2-0 up in the series, and as we mentioned, vibes probably feel pretty good, so I want to send it now over to an Astro Gaming listening with the Chicago Huntsmen.
P3 spawn. Nothing green away. Or P3 spawn, guys. Getting out of here.
You killed me, dude.
Wait, one's a wing. Dead.
You're good.
Good job.
Nice.
One
More
on A.
Push A. Play A.
There's only one A, guys.
Two top L.
On A point.
Yo, on B. Nice little top L.
Helping him out.
Only one guy.
Fuck. Top A, absolute. He's top A. One shot.
We gotta kill Tom.
Where'd you spawn?
I
gotta kill Tom.
I spawn green.
I got him.
Two hitting B, guys. 3. I'm in B, guys.
On A point.
Nothing middle.
One to check.
Top L.
I'm in check. Nothing check.
Bottom L came in.
Mac on B, absolute.
2 on B. You can
2B.
He's
only
I spawned green.
He's hitting mid right now.
I'll be.
They're gonna hit
Middle dead.
Nice. Spawn green.
Gap.
I'm pitching B.
Absolute. There's 2 A.
I spawned P3.
I'm getting CM.
Mid steps Donnie. Mid steps Donnie.
One top A.
Nice try.
Yo, I'm
All good.
Regroup.
I'm gonna go third.
Smoke dump our mid. It's gonna be P3
I'm
probably.
gonna go
P3, P3 dead.
Nice, good guys.
I'll go for middle.
I'm low L.
Hang on.
Nothing
On
low
top
L.
L, on top L.
He's rated low.
I'm trying to get our P3
Slide
right
there.
now.
I don't see anything
Rest
top
up.
L.
Yo,
Red crate dead. Into top AC, top AC.
4:35-22 advantage New York Subliners. It feels like we're jumping between parallel universes though. It's a slow start game 1 for Zuma. He's having a great performance here in game 3. For Prestini, who was so good in game 2, here in game 3, he's slacking just a little bit.
And you got to give massive credit to Zuma as well. He got maybe, I think, 4 kills while he was capping A that basically bought his team an extra 10, 12 points, a ton of map pressure, and set them up. And he did that for the most part by himself. The Huntsmen were incredibly slow reacting to the pressure that he was putting on A, because I think a lot of the players just thought that the next guy in line would win the gunfight, right? I think Scump had expected one of his 2 teammates to get the gunfight. That didn't happen. He expected number 3 off spawn to win the gunfight today. That didn't happen, so Scump has to wrap back, and then he loses the gunfight as well. All of that just trying to deal with one man, the Italian Stallion.
Absolutely. It's been great so far. Unfortunately, though, for New York, they do lose control over the B flag. And well, Scump, it's his turn maybe to make some magic happen over towards A. Nice little movement there. Some bait. Catches attached out. Unfortunately for him, though, will not be able to capture the A flag. While B is back to neutral, and New York, they're over there.
And I'm really expecting Accuracy to eventually try to work his way just above the B warehouse on top of the vent unit. He does get taken down before he can get there. And, well, that just means for the Subliners, it has to be the rest of them that keep the pressure over towards the B flag. Now, Mac Melts is going to be the man that's at least farthest pushed up. And as soon as he falls, well, then Zoom is there. And, well, actually, Mac Melts never fell. He was still up top all the time. And finally, he does. And now New York still pouring on the pressure. Everyone in line. It's like the a factory assembly line sort of thing of just New York trying to kill him and put as much pressure on the bottom left corner as possible, because now you actually have the guys coming off respawn. They sit at the top right. Watch the overextension. Right now, New York is playing on point.
Under 60 seconds to go before the end of the first half. And it is advantage New York still. And it's good for them to maybe hold that 2-1 flag advantage. There's a look at the map. You can see number 5. That's Zuma poised in a position where he can, if he wants to, hop straight over towards C if he feels the pressure from Huntsman is collapsing over towards A, or even allow a couple of players to go through towards B. If you really want them, you can just slay him out and make your teammates' job just a little bit easier. That's going to be the game plan from him. Unfortunately, an unsuccessful game plan. Scump finds himself 2 with 17 seconds left. Job done. Really, chance for New York in the first half. Still not that much of a lead where you feel comfortable that it's map done. But either way, a great performance out of them in the first half.
Absolutely, and I think calling it an assembly line is honestly one of the better descriptors for what New York was able to put to the table. Like, they also just had one of the more aggressive sort of setups we have past the B flag, where it's not just get a guy up to either top or bottom L, but they had guys over in like the third hard point underneath the little deck by like the concrete walls. They were hyper aggressive, and it was every single player, whoever's coming off spawn is watching the OE. As soon as someone spawns near them, that guy then goes to mid map. As soon as the next guy's ready to come launch mid map, then that guy goes over to the warehouse. Like, they just had everything completely set up exactly where they wanted to, and they just ran it perfectly. It was great stuff by the Subliners, but of course now it is a brand new half.
Definitely is. Zoomer's just running around in circles off spawn, just ready to go. It's unfortunate for him, and the New York Subliners be instantly controlled by the Huntsmen. And this is really when we'll start seeing the start of that comeback. That A-B setup so valuable. How long can the Huntsmen hold it down for? Well, unfortunately for them, Formal actually falls. He was in charge of locking down A, which means a couple players are going to have to track back. Envoy being one of them. Keep your eye on that right side. Still a big 1v1. For now, at least, Mac is doing a tremendous job for New York Subliners. That's 2 kills and a neutral he's been able to get. Meanwhile, though, Huntsman again locked in towards B, but Mac should be where we keep our attention for. New York recognize, hey, we don't mind. We don't need a 2-1 flag lead. We can keep it 1-1 for as long as we necessarily need, as Mac finds another Mac finds 2. Oh my goodness gracious me. Mac basically doing it all himself. That's 22-9 his stat line reads. New York in control again.
And again, it just kind of goes down to the thing where you want the AB set up on this map. Chicago effectively gets that off the rip. They're in a great spot, but while New York had the assembly line going and they had to make sure that no one was able to OE, no one able to break through, we have now seen 2 very quick moments where someone for the Subliners, the first time Zuma, this time it was Mac, they get over towards A and they just start being annoying, and it's not fun to deal with because as soon as you think Envoy is going to go back and start capping A, once again, someone gets through. Mac Melts just continuing to run this A flag.
A flag is his flag right now. No one from Huntsman can shut him down. He'll have another 1v1 with Arcides. In fact, Arcides has a little bit of support, but how quick will that support get there? Mac just buying so much time, wasting time if nothing else, and that time has brought him Zuma, who's now close, and he should be able to at least find one. That's going to be the secure back over towards A. B chooses to stay. Again, it's all about drawing those resources from B to A. So far, New York's game plan has been flawless with 3 minutes to go.
And now it's Zuma, again, picking up kills. Like, anytime there's the one guy for the Subliners over here, they have been doing such a good job of staying alive and getting the kills and just wasting or at least buying their teammates time. The A flag has been run by the Subliners, and effectively just Mac and Zuma taking turns. And now we've gotten to the point where you got New York with the AB flag set up. You already see number 3 on the map towards the top right. This is the start of the assembly line. The guy spawns up over there, and maybe you can start rotating mid-map, whatever you want to do. But to me, you know, you can't call it and say GG's too early. People get mad at that sort of thing. But a 50-point lead, 2 minutes left. Subliners got exactly what they want. It's their game to lose.
Definitely is. They have been fantastic here in game 3. And again, when we talk about their domination Røkkr, it's important again to emphasize, but the games they've lost have been so close. Feels pretty brutal, to be honest, to have such a poor record, but its performance is just like this. And the question, is it really their worst game mode? Because, I mean, the work they did at A, that's I think you mentioned already, but it was truly fantastic. First it was Mac, then it was Zuma. Of course, as all those fights were going on, and Huntsman put so many resources to that side of the map, D was then kept up. New York Subliners in a great position to force this to a game 4.
Yeah, and I will say and admit that, like, if Mac and Zuma aren't completely going crazy by themselves at different times toward the A flag, this would be a much tighter game. Yeah. And that's not the type of game plan that New York is going to be able to rely on in future dominations. But outside of that, again, their setups have been on point. The consistency has been on point. They have played incredibly well on top of the individual performances were put up by 2 of the SMGs.
Yeah, 28 and 15 is Mac, 27 and 17 is Zuma. Both of them very close statistically this game. With 60 seconds left. Yeah. The other side, 10 and 24 is Arcides. 9 and 23 is Prestini. Like I said before, feels like we're going in and out of parallel universes at this point. For Prestini and Arcides, incredible in game 2 and just non-existent, it feels like, in game 3. It looks as if this could maybe get even a little worse in terms of overall score. Currently we're at a 70-ish point lead, and yes, Huntsman will control A and C, but 37 seconds left. He said, you know, calling it a little early isn't necessarily always what will
no,
be
it's
the
over.
word. Yeah,
you know, I have a new
done.
suggestion. As soon as it becomes mathematically impossible, if we're not just going to end the games outright, everyone should be forced to use a knife only. Like, just see knife only, see the different strats, or maybe snipers only. Give a little flair to it. But we've been playing for stats now for, I don't know, maybe about 2 minutes, just about, because it has been long gone since the Huntsman needed a triple cap setup. And, well, the ship has sailed, Ben. This map is over.
Like you said, sailed quite some time ago. The Røkkr team having fun. Of course, shout out to those guys working so incredibly hard. Always important to give them credit where credit is due. And I know for a fact that that's Cleaner. I gotta highlight him as just one of our observers, just for being so trolly. Whenever you see anything trolly on screen, guys, I guarantee you it's Cleaner. So you guys can tweet at him. Maybe some suggestions.
So all the salty Huntsman fans that are annoyed by
that. Cleaner. It's at Cleaner HD on Twitter. Anyway, moving forward, it's going to be New York with the advantage in game 3. And of course, staying alive in the series. Mac 31 kills, 18 deaths. Zuma 32 kills, 20 deaths. Can't give either of those boys enough credit. Again, individually, their work on the A hill has been great, but just big picture now, Chance. When we talk about players coming in, and so often we talk honeymoon periods, right? Zero, good example of what's happening for London, Prestini, obviously Huntsman, different kind of kettle of fish there, because that team was already good, already kind of a championship caliber squad if you want. But for Mac, joining New York, I mean, the improvement has been almost instant. It's been incredible, and it seems to me as if that isn't just a honeymoon period. That improvement seems there to stay.
No, he's great. That improvement is there to stay, but I still don't think we have like a clear-cut indication of exactly where the Subliners are going to fall.
That's fair.
Right? I mean, again, because like even in this tournament alone, OpTic have looked just also a lot better. The Ravens look a lot better. Like Toronto, even the last time we've seen those guys play, looked a lot better. It's still a very difficult thing of like trying to separate yourself from that middle of the pack sort of situations. There's a lot of teams that have made improvements, that have made the roster changes. Even Florida potentially could come out and look even better and improve upon their performances where they've even won a damn tournament, Ben. So yes, the Subliners look great. Yes, Mac has helped them improve, but it's still a long way to go before I'm convinced that like they can win a tournament. And this is the type of situation where they can make that proof, where they can make that case for themselves, right? You go down 2-0 against the Huntsmen, who look fantastic. You have a phenomenal bounce back game in the domination, but still not an easy road ahead, right? You got to go to the hard point where in the head-to-head, the Huntsmen are 4-1 against them in the game mode. This is also a map we're going into that the Huntsmen are going to prefer against the Subliners in the series, and you still got the Game 5 fall black plan. So yes, the Subliners look great, but until I'm completely sold on the team, this is the type of series I need to see them win.
I mean, similar to the domination stat, though, right? You look at hardpoint, even game 1 of this series was close. There was moments really where you thought New York had full control and could maybe potentially close things out. So yes, their record specifically against Huntsmen isn't that great. But with that said, do you see any likelihood of a game 5, or are you kind of set here on, this is going to be 3-1, Huntsmen can cruise through to a grand final?
I mean, hell, if you got the Twins going and combined, 24 and, I don't know, 53 or whatever it is, and you got Mac Meltz and Zuma on the flip side of that, getting 63 kills combined. Like, if Mac Meltz and Zuma turn on the burners like that, then I could definitely see a Game 5 possibility, but I think if I was a betting man, I would certainly lean towards the Huntsmen. Maybe like a 65-35, 60-40, something along those lines.
Okay, fair enough. So almost a coin flip. Whether we'll go to a Game 5. Hackney Yard hardpoint about to get underway versus Game 4. If you're just tuning in, the series has been a good one. Game 1, very close. Huntsman closed things out towards the end. The Search and Destroy, not really that close. Massive edge, really thanks to Prestini's work for the Huntsmen. They will go 2-0 up before New York show signs of life in the Game 3. And that sends us, of course, set here to Game 4. We're going to kick things off on board with Mac. He was part of 2 players, at least, himself and Zuma, who just really overperformed if anything else there in game.
And this is the best start possible, honestly, for New York, right? Obviously, we know they already are favored to win the second hill at the very least, just because of where they spawn off the rip. Just the fact that they just won the opening break, they are in a fantastic spot very early on. So Huntsman, again, a little bit of pressure on. You're gonna have to try to break through not just the hill, but spawns. And well, the only player that was attempting it was Arcides. He gets cut down immediately. Now Skelp might have an opportunity to make a similar sort of play, but can't find the second kill accuracy. Doing a nice job holding it down with the AR.
Almost made a miraculous play, and so as you mentioned, accuracy shut him down. Arcides not going to be able to go much further. Around the minimap, though, again, we'll highlight the key spawns, which are going to be so crucial, as Chance mentioned, for New York Subliners. They're in a good spot based off where they spawned at the start of the game. They've been able to hold that down, though, and they're only about 23 points. Pretty decent. They'll be happy with that as long as they can turn P2 into a money.
Well, honestly, they're getting a little bit more. I was going to say, if the Huntsmen were able to take the lead just from the P1 time, then it's not the worst. You have the opportunity to break through on the next hill. It's not easy, but, you know, not completely impossible. But now instead, they're down by 10 points, and this is where things start to get interesting on Hackney Yard. And, well, the Huntsmen, they actually have a couple players, maybe potentially. Actually, Scout is just going to spawn there. They did enough on the pressure, got enough kills mid-map that they do actually get the spawns. So just like that, you talk about how difficult it is to break through on this hill. The Huntsmen go large and make it happen.
Yeah, something like that. Temp. Meanwhile, he's going to try and re-break for New York. Unfortunately for him, RC's still inside the hill. Made in hand. A lot of work to be done. He's done well just to stay alive, if I'm honest. He'll find another pick down towards Formo, but whilst all these kills are coming through, Huntsman inside the hill with 20 seconds left. Doesn't really look like New York are going to have much of a chance to break through unless Zuma can somehow manage to find himself another couple of kills. In fact, Huntsman just going to leave it. Say, you know what? You want that final 10? You take it. We're going to focus the fight elsewhere.
And already, again, I think this is a pretty good job well done by the Huntsmen just from the disadvantage that they're faced with just from off the rip. And now you see the rotation coming in. Huntsmen are all turtled up over towards the left side of the map. They don't quite have the full setup they want. They're working towards it now. And finally, they got the mid-map pressure over towards the right side. Formal's got the lockdown. And, well, now you got Bersini trying to be a little bit of a slayer. Can only find one, though, before he gets dropped.
Current score 62-56, advantage Huntsmen. Of course, we heard their comms in the domination. They hear from New York Subliners. Let's send it now to OpTic Gaming listening with New York.
That one. One more touchdown. Getting ready to dodge maze on hill. I'm looking over here. I'm looking over here. I got 180. He's pillars pushing up. I'm looking at. I got him. One more tool, one graffiti. Graffiti one shot. He's going slam power. Pick it up.
Get in it.
Smoke out flank, guys.
One more P1, Matt. He's gonna go top AC, Matt.
Got one top white.
Matt, top AC.
I'm pushing up P1. Don't go hill. Don't go hill.
I'm coming.
Pushing up P1.
Coming with you.
I'm nailing their wall. They're on me new quick. On me new. I got one's weak. One more, guys. Top AC. Good piece.
It's stairs, dead.
Behind me. He's at gate to white. One squad to white. I spawned door. And one P1.
I'm under door. I'm a bullet.
Cindy's gonna be in the back. He's got me. He's gonna go cop car, guys. Cop car. Yep. I spawned P1. He's cop car weak.
Hey, one school. One
more time for Stevie.
Envoy's P1 running up mid. Every time I'm out of control right then. I'm out of control. Envoy's in the top out. He's right side of mid, Envoy. Smoke it.
I'm in green.
I'm looking top green door peak. I'm stunned mid map. Envoy's mid.
Well, 94-81. It's still New York with the lead. Huntsman, though, fighting back once again. Zoomer on your screens. He'll find two. Not going to find anything more, though. Formal shuts him down. And Huntsman has to take the lead.
Huntsman absolutely going to take the lead and bump it up by at least a little bit, but obviously nothing too absurd for the moment. Right now, RCD is trying to be the guy to make a play. Temp is looking to hunt him down, and, well, RCD is actually, I was going to say, doing a great job of staying alive, bought a ton of time, try to be a little bit squirrely, and frankly, now you got two players for the Huntsman forcing it down Temp. They're able to break through. They are sort of getting pinched in, and right now, you just got Huntsman trying to break through on this hill. They're coming from everywhere, but they're also getting chased.
Yeah, they most definitely are. Huntsman still inside, though, and that's due to maybe Scrump still inside the hill. Another dodgy nade from RCD. He's just going to back away, though. Doesn't really want to compete for that. And he's actually made a really smart play. Yes, there's 40 seconds left, but look at the job he's going to do. And the reason behind that, of course, is he's already forward thinking 2 further hills in advance. That's number 7 on the minimap. He says, you know what, guys? You take that fight. I'm going to lock in this spawn. We're going to have that right-hand side of the map. Such a good play there from RCD. You're never going to see a play like that reflected on the stats because, to be frank, he didn't necessarily have to do much other than just rotate, but he rotated at the perfect time.
Well, and keep in mind, though, that just means the situation for the Subliners is, one, you get a bunch of the scrap times towards the old hill. You were able to win the gunfights in the basically 5v4 type thing that you had, and now you get a minute and a half to eventually attempt to try to flip those spawns. Right now, no one able to break through that 50-yard margin, and the Subliners that is trying is just getting cut down. So an effective tied game we have after the play that RC's decided to make. Now let's see what the Huntsmen can try to do to convert the favorability.
You're right, again on that mini-map. Good from Huntsman so far. Yes, the points are great, but for them, they know the importance of that spawn. Exactly why RC's made the play he did a few moments ago. Meanwhile, it's actually Scump just shutting down everyone from New York, trying to push through. Eventually, he will drop. Attach finds him, but it's Formal who's been inside the hill for the entire time. A little bit of a streak there before finally falling. Scump again looking to try and trade. He'll find 2, looking for 3. Unfortunately, checks the wrong corner. New York hold the hill. But again, the importance of that spawn, it's been all Huntsman.
And so again, the play that was made by RCDs early on, now it's resulted in, at least before this hill, a virtual tie game. Even after that, still going to be right about close to the same margin. So the question is for them, of course, can they actually hold this second hill? They were able to successfully break through pretty easily in a matter of 10-15 seconds. Now, of course, the roles are going to be flipped. Huntsman just trying to keep the Subliners at bay.
RCD pushing for him. Colt trying to ladder stall. Not going to necessarily work out there. However, Huntsman still inside the hill. The rotation worked out perfectly. Now it's just about getting 1, maybe 2 waves of kills. And New York Scump there to support. Scump and Formal putting in a big shift when we're talking about kind of hill time. I mean, Formal with a minute 16. Scump's just been slaying 20 and 20, 40 engagements. It seems like everyone has been around the hill, not necessarily picking up the most hill time himself. Overall, just the impact he's had and the presence he's had, massive for the Huntsman.
No looks like one player for the Subliners able to get through up top, and this is actually a very big one-on-one, and I say that, it was actually 2-on-1. Persini actually was right next to Scump, so Subliners chip away maybe, what, 3-4 seconds realistically off that hill, but that was the setup from a very long time ago. The Huntsmen played out of their way to make sure they got those spawns, and he does take a place on the scoreboard. Gonna have about a 40-point lead on the new hill.
Temp already rotated. New York, can you find those kills in transition accuracy? His job to try and do just that. Max pushed up back over towards P1, and he actually may hit the flank. He has all the information he needs mid-map. Jump should fall here shortly. Max doing a good job, as he normally does. 35 seconds left. New York, chats, they're coming back into this one. It looks like we could have another close game on our hands.
And our accuracy, excuse me, was attempting to be in his home, but now no one's going to be inside the hill, and maybe a potentially bit of a foot race over just to new. That's a lot of time that neither team is looking like they're going to be able to get, and maybe just one random mad dash. Finally, someone for the Subliners tries to get in, but this is just a ton of time just going to waste. Neither team having any success of getting a foot inside. Finally, at the old hill, the Huntsmen will get, what, maybe the final 10 seconds, and well, they had a 40 lead going into that hill. They're going to have about a 30 going into the new one, so still no massive problems on the side of the Huntsmen, but this is another hill. The Subliners do get that early setup, but obviously it's not clean, it's not perfect, it's going to be scrappy.
It's going to be very scrappy indeed. Full contested attach. Unfortunately, I think he finished the job there, and he hadn't. Of course, Formal finds himself too. And so many multi-kills throughout this game. Is it going to be enough, though, to seal the deal and force Huntsmen to another grand final on the year? 226-187 for New York. You have to break, and you have to break quickly. Time is of the essence. Huntsmen can close things out right here, as Arstees will have two players flying towards him. Unfortunately, just can't stay alive long enough. Again, he'll contest it. Again, the trade's enough. New York, stay alive.
For the moment, the Huntsmen are being outslayed by somewhere around 10 kills, maybe about a dozen, but in spite of that, 40-point lead, playing fantastic, and frankly, now they get one wave of kills. They're going to be able to seal the deal in this game. They got everybody just about in the positions they want. Two players in and around the hill, Envoy up top. Scump's got the right side covered. You see Arceus up top does get taken down, but that's just setting up Envoy to make sure he gets the next set of kills. 14 away, and the Huntsmen close out the series.
This could be where Huntsmen book their ticket into another final. They have the perfect setup, the setup they need. For New York, you have to just fly, but you need to find the kills, and Scump's not going to let you past. Chicago Huntsmen take the series 3-1 after picking up the hard point 250-201. They're going to be feeling fantastic going into another grand final.
Getting outslayed and winning the game fairly comfortable towards the end. I'm not used to seeing it from this team, but they made it look good here in those final moments. Fundamentally, just on point, search and destroy on point, and you win both the hard points. Like, again, yes, the Subliners look better. There are a ton of positive takeaways, but if they're not winning one of the two hard points, I don't see this team winning a lot of series, at least not at this point in time.
Honestly, I might have to agree with you there, Chance, but we'll wait and see. As we've mentioned, about halfway through the CDL season, still so much Call of Duty still to be played. But when we talk a little bit about just some of the plays that we saw there, we mentioned Arceus, of course, just basically sprinting through mid-map, locking down the spawns. That's something that I feel like as a player, Arceus doesn't always get the love he so often deserves, just making the right plays at the right times. And I know he himself kind of calls it the dirty work, if you will, the job that never gets the love and never gets the credit, but it's so essential to winning. I just want to highlight again just how important, not just that play, but so many plays he makes throughout respawns truly is for the Huntsmen. Again, just I personally don't feel like he gets enough love.
Agreed. One of my favorite plays, honestly, from the entire series was the first set of rotations on Ramaza hardpoint way back. So honestly, on YouTube, you can go rewind to watch.
Use the rewind feature, because
yeah. But it was from the P2 to P3 rotation, and it was all the players right now were trying to go through like the tunnel side of things. Everyone eventually dies around Arceus. There was a gunfight he could have taken and tried to force his way in, but instead he lays down, waits for all of his teammates to spawn in. Because he waited, they spawn close on him because of the squad spawns, and they go for the perfect break. But you put, I would say maybe literally 90% of the players in this league in that situation, they take the gunfight and play as aggressive as possible. And sometimes you have success that route, but Arceus does the smart thing, plays around his team, and he just makes those plays 100% of the time,
Right.
just about. Like, he's always so clean, so smart, and you're exactly right. There aren't stats to show off that sort of thing. Like, he is, like, this comes down to the engagements. Whenever someone tweets and they're like, hey, you're not as engaged as someone else, like you're not as good at them for whatever reason, he just made sure he did not take a gunfight on that map for 50 seconds to make sure he could set his team up. That is trading away engagements and the stats, whatever, because that's not the important thing, but Alec knows exactly what the important thing is. That's the dub. That's exactly what they get.
Yeah, and they get a ticket into another grand final. We'll take a look at our Scuff Gaming play of the game, and I believe it is going to be Arstee's as well. I mean, for me, yes, he has the gun skill. It's so funny to me in terms of like the super fast, aggressive playstyle, right? That's what I feel like many people kind of associate with being a good Call of Duty player. Arceus can do that, right? He kind of showed that in game 2 in the Search and Destroy, but he's also so incredibly smart. I mean, if you speak to many of his former teammates, maybe even probably current teammates, they'll vouch for him. They'll say, yep, this guy is very, very talented, very, very intelligent.
And they got the band back together, right?
And they do. Doesn't it feel right? It just feels right. Like when those two broke up at the start of the year, there was a part of me that was just a little sad. I'll be honest. Just considering the success they started to show and the success they had, you're like, all right, let's keep the ball rolling, keep it going. And unfortunately, that older United squad, they do part ways, but we at least get a little bit of that back together.
And the funniest part about that to me is their head-to-head record against each other. Pristini is 1-0. They played each other once, and then Pristini did that. And he was like, yo, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to wait to team with my brother so I never have to play him again. I'm the better twin. Let's go. Like, that's he smart. Can always have that.
That's smart.
Unless eventually they break up again. But that cracks me up.
RC's going to have to call for him to be dropped at some point, and just for one event, just so he can try and get the best of his brother. Speaking of brothers, though, our final for this week is actually interesting.
Twin versus twin, baby.
London Royal Ravens, Chicago Huntsmen. Which brother duo will come out on top? And since we have a quick moment, Chance, predictions for you for the final?
Okay, so I will say just on the twin v twin point, I think I don't know how often we've ever seen this in esports. I don't know how many twins there are in general. I know Halo had like the Ogres. But I don't know if there's twins that they ever battled against. I think last year we saw it once where it was twins v twins, and I can't remember who came out on top. I think it happened through Black Ops 4. Someone can double check me before the grand finals, or at least I'll try to figure it out, because maybe I'm just wrong. But predictions, it's kind of hard to not go Huntsman. I mean, okay, so the Ravens did look fantastic against OpTic, and credit where credit is due. Dylan has been the fry man all week. Scraps has looked a lot better than he has in the past as well. Like, they seem to be right about on point with where they want to be. But at the same time, Huntsmen have just been too damn good the entire year for me to really start doubting them now. So I'm leaning Huntsmen, but I'm hoping and expecting it to be a good series, which is a cop-out, but whatever.
It's all the fantastic. But to be honest, I completely agree with you. I think if you're a betting man, you have to go Huntsmen, right? Just their accomplishments so far this year, it's without doubt the number. I just got word, apparently, CDL Awards. Okay, that's something that we can talk about. I just got word in my ear. Something I want to highlight, you can earn while you enjoy. Isn't that fantastic here today on CDL Sunday? Basically, the drops, okay? You can learn more at CallOfDutyLeague.com, but you can earn some fantastic goodies. I know there's like some double XP, there's some team stuff. There's a ton of great stuff that you can earn just by sitting and watching. So make sure you guys link your accounts. Make sure you can earn some free goodies just by enjoying the same stuff you were going to watch anyway.
And whoever watches the most Call of Duty at the end of the year gets a special Scump skin where you can play as him. No, I'm kidding. That would be incredible, though. If we could play as the players in game.
That would actually be great.
That would be the greatest.
One step at a time, right? We got skins this year. Next year, we'll give you player skins where you can play as your favorite. I'm just kidding. just kidding. All the devs right now are having a hard time.
I'd play as FaZe, dude. Smaller hitboxes.
Oh, the tiny turns. That would be fantastic. That's going to be everything for myself and Chance today. We'll be back after this with the PlayStation Instant Reaction.